Tarik Skubal mauled the Rangers while Juan Soto and the New York Mets just kept launching homers on the Cubs, and the Dodgers shocked the Diamondbacks in the desert. We're taking you all around Major League Baseball. It's MLB Game Night.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Welcome on into MLB Game Night, where we cover every game every night. I'm your host, Lindsey Crosby, host of the Locked On Braves postcast. Follow me on social media at Crosby Baseball. He's Steve Lennox, host of the Locked On Red Sox postcast. Follow him on social media on X at Lennox on Baseball. Coming up on the show, Steve, Kansas City Royals took 12 innings to walk off your Red Sox. Sorry to bring it back up. The Twins, 6th consecutive win. Eric Fedde throws a complete game shutout for the Cardinals. Before we do that, this episode is brought to you by our friends at Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Turn any TV into your Xbox. No console required. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to learn more. Steve, I want to start with Rangers-Tigers because they win this game 2-1, but Tarik Skubal may have had the start of the year on the mound. So here's Scott Bentley from Locked On Tigers with his thoughts about just how dominant of an outing this was.
Just in case you forgot, okay, I'm going to tell you a little secret. Tarik Skubal is still the best pitcher in all of baseball. I'm Scott Bentley, host of Locked On Tigers. That's a 2-1 victory at home for the Tigers over the Texas Rangers. Tarik Skubal, 7 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, had a no-hitter into, the 6th inning. No walks, 12 strikeouts, 32 whiffs. You heard me right. That is a 3 and a 2 next to each other in that order. It's the most whiffs by a pitcher so far this season. Over his last 6 starts, he has 50 strikeouts and 1 walk. He is unhuman. His ERA is now down to around 2, and he was masterful. The bullpen also masterful. You had Tommy Kahnle in the 8th, has a sub-1 ERA this year. Will Vest in the 9th, outside of 1 outing, has been fantastic this year. Colt Keith offensively, with a wonderful game after a terrible April, is now starting to actually become what we all thought he was going to be when he was the best prospect in the organization a couple of seasons ago. This team is rolling. They're 26-13 with the best record in baseball as I record this. And the best part about the Tigers, tomorrow is Jack Flaherty, Sunday's Reese Olson. This rotation is ridiculous, and the offense is helping them out so far this season. We'll keep the ball rolling tomorrow.
I had no idea that he had only 1 walk in that span. But Tarik Skubal, that's the most whiffs by a Tiger pitcher in the pitch tracking era. Absurd, Steve.
Yes, as Scott was talking there, and, he's got 5 walks total. Scott gave the numbers there. 5 walks, 60 strikeouts, 8 starts, 47 and 2/3 innings. But Skubal at this point in time, I go back to the 80s. You're a little younger than I am, but he's in the conversation. He's there. In the conversation now, Jack Morris, Verlander, Scherzer, he's in the top 10. He's going to be in the top 5 when you talk about all-time starting pitchers for the Detroit Tigers. Fun to watch. And you said at the beginning, Lindsey, hey, we're talking about the best performance of the night. And don't forget, you teased, Eric Fedde had a complete game shutout, but Skubal, 32 swing and misses. A lot of times that's he had 15 or 16. That's a big number. That's eye-opening. 32? Unbelievable. I don't like using that word a lot.
It is the highest total since Lance Lynn had 33 in a 16 strikeout game against Seattle, June 18th, 2023. Just fantastic win there. The Tigers, he said it, Tigers have the best record in baseball. They look like a juggernaut. I'm excited to see what happens in the rest of this series. Speaking of seeing what happens in the rest of this series, Cubs and at the Mets. Mets take down the Cubs 7-2. I've got Chris Schubert here from the Locked On Mets postcast to kind of talk about all of the home runs they hit in this one.
Mets came home and decided to throw themselves a power party as 4 home runs fuel a 7-2 victory over the Chicago Cubs to move the Mets 11-2 in series openers. Chris Schubert, host of the Locked On Mets postcast, recapping the Mets taking this first game from the Chicago Cubs in a battle of first-place teams in their respective divisions. It was Francisco Lindor who got things started, his 4th leadoff home run of the season. And how can you not talk about Juan Soto, who coming into tonight, hitting .346 in the month of May with an OPS over 1,300, and he continued to swing a hot bat. 2 RBIs tonight, including an absolute no-doubter of a home run that should make all of those statistics go up. Go up for Juan Soto here in the month of May. The Mets got more great starting pitching from Clay Holmes, his 3rd quality start out of his last 4. He has been excellent. The Mets bat showed up, and they are trying for a 3-game winning streak tomorrow, their 2nd consecutive series win, and they will try to spoil the debut of Cade Horton.
Chris is growing on me. I just want to get him a new Met hat. That's the only thing.
That's the spring training one. Yeah, it's
yes.
it's one of the creative ones. We did find out tonight that Cade Horton gets the start, top pitching prospect for the Cubs, but Brad Keller will open. So Cade's the bulk guy, but he will have a reliever in front of him. Horton will follow Brad Keller tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't understand that, but that's okay. Let Keller be the opener, not the starter, but the opener. Gets credit with a game start. I'm looking forward to Horton. Outside of Pete Crow Armstrong, their top minor league prospect, according to MLBpipeline.com. I think I saw him in 2022 on Oklahoma's run to the College World Series. I had them in the regional in Gainesville, Florida. And not that he didn't stand out, but they just had great pitching and great hitting throughout the course of that regional, super regional, and then on their way to Omaha. But this, at least in the game, in the series opener, and Lindsay, you said at the top, curious to see how this series plays out. But the old adage, good pitching beats good hitting. Reds #1 in runs scored, stolen bases, home runs in the National League. Mets 2.89 ERA. Hey, they hit the home runs in the victory. And that ERA is still under 3 and impressive for the Mets.
Only damage on Clay Holmes, Kyle Tucker solo shot in the 4th. If you give up a home run to Kyle Tucker, okay, that happens. A lot of people have done that, but that's all the damage. Flip side, Michael Busch did go 2 for 4 with a double and a home run, so good day for him. Speaking of lots of runs, Dodgers at Diamondbacks. This game was wild. 14-11, massive comeback. I was watching this on the edge of my seat. I'm not a fan of either team. Can you imagine how our friends over at Locked On Dodgers had to feel about it?
Yeah, that's a roller coaster.
Was there ever any doubt? I'm being informed that there was, in fact, a wee bit of doubt. What's up? This is Jeff Snyder from Locked On Dodgers. The Dodgers beat the Diamondbacks 14-11 with a 6-run 9th inning. They scored 5 runs in the 3rd inning. They were up 8-3 at that point. It seemed like they were cruising to a victory, and then their offense fell asleep. Their bullpen was terrible. Suddenly, they're down 11-8 going into the 9th inning, but they got the job done. The big blow, of course, Shohei Ohtani's 3-run home run to break the 11-11 tie. Andy Pages and Kike Hernandez both had RBI doubles in that inning. Max Muncy had an RBI single. Awesome team inning started by, of course, Freddie Freeman, the catalyst, the MVP. Dodgers didn't seem like they were going to win this game. They won this game. You got to win some of those where you just think you have no business winning. That was one of these. Happy to have it. Be sure to check out Locked On Dodgers every weekday morning on YouTube and wherever you get podcasts to hear about this and every Dodger game.
Steve, you mentioned yesterday about the back end of that bullpen being troubling here. Kevin Ginkel, one out recorded, 5 earned runs. How in trouble are the Diamondbacks?
They've got to get the bullpen figured out. If it's guys coming back from injury or going out and pick, I mean, there are a lot of teams right now who need bullpen help because you're seeing the same guys night in, night out, 3 out of 5 appearances, 3 out of 5 days. And that does not bode well when you're still, having it at the midpoint of May. And that's a big thing. We touched on it last night, Lindsay, of, this is a series, the first series against NL West teams. You had this game in the bag.
Yep.
And you can't, I was starting to write the game story. I'm like, okay, Diamondbacks are going to go up 2-0 in the series. No. That lineup is just, and it's unrelenting, and they're not going to, it's unforgivable. Once they get going, it's like a team in the NBA with a run. I mean, hit after hit after hit. They just collect them in bunches, and they can put the runs up, like you said, in a blink of an eye.
Fun fact here that I want to kind of cover real quick. Kettle Marte, 2 home runs, 110 mile an hour. I think they're like 113 and change each, one from each side of the plate. Second time in the StatCast era that's ever happened. So little fun thing there. Final one here in the first segment. I want to get to Red Sox at Royals. Your Red Sox get walked off 2-1 in 12. Kind of just like real quick, what happened to go
this
to 12
was
innings?
This was a great game. Michael Lorenzen, Hunter Dobbins, rookie. Lorenzen, an all-star 2 years ago. This was a well-pitched game on both sides early on, scoreless. And I love low-scoring games.
Yeah.
But as we touched on again on Friday, you get to extra innings, it becomes futile for the Red Sox. They didn't walk a single time. No, and that's not what I want to lead with here. They didn't walk for 12 innings. They have, I think, 12 walks in their last 7 games. Trevor Story's not hitting. Alex Bregman's not hitting. Jarren Duran in the leadoff spot 0 for 5. They couldn't move a runner twice in 3 extra innings when you're starting a runner at second base. And, they got the lead. RBI ground out by Rafi Devers. There's a lot going on with this team. There's a lot of turmoil.
Yeah, there is.
But the Royals keep winning. They've won 16 of 18, and kudos to them. They got the runner over. They got the runner in, and they walk off with another victory.
Isn't this like the 10th one-run loss for Boston? Like it's just
it is.
like it's a little bit of a not panic button. You can't panic button in May, but you're getting on the verge of that. All right.
Broken record is what they are right now.
There you go. In just a second, I want to get to another winning streak that's continuing in Minnesota, of all places. We'll do that next, right here on MLB Game Night. Let's be real. Coffee isn't just a drink. It's a lifeline. It's the thing that gets you from half asleep to fully functioning. And if it's that essential, why settle for anything less than amazing? That's where Trade Coffee comes in. Trade is the #1 coffee destination in the U.S., delivering fresh, incredible coffee from over 50 of the country's top roasters. Whether you're a cold brew fan or a pour-over purist, they've got a roast you'll love. I placed my first order recently with them, and what I love is they have like a questionnaire to help recommend which type of coffee you'll like. They ask you questions about the preparation method. They'll ask you questions about the flavors that you like. And then at the end of the whole thing, they present you with the customized selections just for you based on your preferences. So right now, Trade is exclusively offering our customers 50% off your 1-month trial at drinktrade.com/LockedOnMLB. That's trade, TRADE.com/LockedOnMLB for 50% off your 1-month trial. That's drinktrade.com/LockedOnMLB. Today's episode is also brought to you by our friends at Amazon Fire TV. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. EA Play is included, and you're ready to play. You can dive into hundreds of premium titles. EA Sports College Football 25, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Avowed, as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. It's not only simple, it's affordable. You can play high-quality Xbox games at a fraction of the cost of a console. And if you already have a console, a Fire TV Stick 4K device is more affordable and easier to travel with, allowing you to take your or your kids' games wherever you plug in. So head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. It's available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd generation, Fire TV Stick 4K Max 1st and 2nd generation, and Fire TV Cube 3rd generation. Okay, Steve, Giants at Twins. The Twins extended their win streak to 6 in a row, 3-1 win. This is your absolute kind of low-scoring game that you love here. Chris Paddock retired 17 in a row to start this game.
They sort of opened up my eyes, and I don't want to go back to the Red Sox, but, they took 2 out of 3 from Fenway on their recent road trip, and now a game to within 500. when you're this far into the season, and again, I'm a broken record, but if they can get to 500 in the next couple of days, all of a sudden you have to start really paying attention to them. Royce Lewis, off to a slow start since coming back,
but he's back.
But if they can get him healthy and keep him healthy, and then Buxton's always a guy you keep healthy. Don't forget, this lineup also has Carlos Correa, and I feel like he's that bear in hibernation. His numbers are okay. But all of a sudden, if he becomes Carlos Correa, that was with the Astros, it's a real good lineup. And Paddock gives you an opportunity. Reminds me a little bit of Gausman and Bassett with the Blue Jays. He's not a 1 or 2, but he's a good, solid 3 or 4 where he has the capability of doing exactly what he did Friday night.
He can do it for you. He can get you a win. They are 1 win away from 500 at 19-20. Okay, Phillies at Guardians. Philadelphia gets shut out 6-0 in this one. We're not used to saying that about Philly. And Justin Latta from Locked On Guardians was a little bit fired up about this one.
Guardians are seeing a lot of Jekyll and Hyde in their starting pitching this year, sometimes even in the same game. And that's what we saw from the Guardians in Game 1 of their series against the Phillies on Friday, on their way to a 6-0 win. It's Justin Latta from Locked On Guardians. Gavin Williams, among all the people in this pitching staff, have been Jekyll and Hyde this year. He has shown flashes throughout his career of ace-level dominant stuff. Sometimes the starts are good, sometimes they're bad. In this one, it was both. He got off to a very bad start in this one, threw almost 30 pitches in the first inning, left the bases loaded, was able to get out of that jam, and then did corral hit some things a little bit, and he kept the Phillies off the board. He was only able to go 5 innings, but he threw 5 shutout innings. He struck out 8. And the offense, once again, came up big. They beat Aaron Nola, who's had an up-and-down year this year, but they got 3 big home runs from Kyle Manzardo, from Angel Martinez, from Jose Ramirez. They spread it out, had a really good, dominant home win against a good team to start the homestand. Other big news in this one, too, is Gabriel Arias is going to be taking over shortstop duties for Brian Rocchio, 2 full-time for now. We've been telling you about that on Locked On Guardians for weeks. It's finally happening. Tune in to Locked On Guardians every day to get Guardians analysis.
My only real note on this one is Philly kind of did it to themselves. 6 hits, all singles, 0 for 8 with runners on scoring position. That's your bad, really.
Yeah, and again, this lineup, you want the consistency, a stretch, and they've had it. But again, this lineup's better than those numbers you just rattled off. And Aaron Nola, as Justin said right there, he's been a box of chocolates. And is he going to have a stretch, at some point in time where it's 4 or 5 outings in a row where he's giving up 3 earned runs or less, and he's going into the 6th or 7th inning? You need that from him because, again, that's a bullpen that quickly can get overexposed if there's too much in terms of usage going to the same guys every day.
Yeah. A team that didn't need to use too much of their bullpen. The Yankees went to Sacramento against the Athletics. They win 10-2 in an absolute blowout here. Jason Dominguez, home runs. Okay, help me with this. Technically, it's 3 consecutive at-bats because he had a sac fly in there and it doesn't count as an official at-bat. But should we give him credit for this or not? It feels a little iffy to me.
It's not Reggie Jackson against the Dodgers in the World Series in the 70s. But yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
3 consecutive ABs.
Yeah. Why not? There you go. And fun fact here, first time in MLB history, a guy's hit home runs from both sides of the plate and then also hit a grand slam in the same game. So move over, Aaron Judge. Jason Dominguez is the king of New York for at least one day. Flip side here, Will Warren, the only starter I had in fantasy who did well, 7 1/3 innings, 7 strikeouts, 1 run, 1 walk. He had a start, I think 2 times ago. He went 2 2/3 innings. So this is great length for them. That's really all I have on the Yankees. It's just good, all-around solid win.
I feel like this is a series for the A's where it's, big brother versus little brother. Mm-hmm. That, the A's have to certainly feel good about themselves as we hit mid-May here and Memorial Day in a couple of weeks. But right now it's sort of like, all right, we still have a ways to go. The Yankees come to town. They're not wearing the pinstripes. They're wearing the grays with New York on the front of the jerseys, but that can be intimidating. And everyone just seems to be bigger in the other dugout when it comes to the Yankees as the opposition.
Yeah. Real quick, we're going to kind of get past this one a little quickly. Reds at Astros. Astros take this 3-0. They shut out Cincinnati. Hunter Brown and 4 relievers. 15 strikeouts. He goes 5 2/3, uncharacteristic 4 walks, but still ERA 1.48. He's 6-1. Kind of came out of nowhere to be one of the dominant starters, really second half of last year and then this year too.
I put him in my top 10. When he's starting, I at least want to see an inning or two out of him. And you expect, you don't expect 5 2/3, 4 walks, like you said, but 2 hits, 9 strikeouts. He's establishing himself. I mean, I think he's certainly a top 15. I don't think he's pushing it. Top 15 starter in baseball right now.
I could go with that. Yeah. Top 15 makes sense. Fun note here. I hope we talk about them tomorrow. Lance McCullers versus Brady Singer. I like that matchup. 2 veterans. Going to be a fun one. Final game here in this segment. Blue Jays at Mariners. Blue Jays win this 6-3. And Tight End Gonzalez of Locked On Mariners had some thoughts about how that happened.
Start from Luis Castillo dooms the Mariners tonight. This is Tight End Gonzalez, host of the Locked On Mariners podcast. Mariners fall 6-3 to open up their series with the Blue Jays. And, we can talk about that brutal 8th inning where the Mariners had Jimmy Garcia on the ropes, bases loaded, nobody out, and they weren't able to convert. The offense obviously has its fair share of blame in this one, but straight up, you needed better from Luis Castillo than what you got out of him tonight. He walks the first 2 guys he sees in this game, ends up giving up 2 in the first inning. And then a few innings later, he's able to get the first 2 outs and then gives up a double to Addison Barger and RBI single to Ernie Clement. And then a 2-run home run to Nathan Lucas to make it 5-0 Blue Jays. And those are just 3 guys that you cannot allow to do that kind of damage against you. Especially in that situation where you're on the cusp of getting out of that inning unscathed. And that's really where the Mariners lost this game. But hey, they've been here before many a times over the course of this 9-series win streak where they've lost the first game and still been able to win the next 2. So we'll see if they're able to repeat history over the course of the weekend. And then we'll talk to you guys on the Locked On Mariners podcast on Monday. See you then. Peace.
Yeah. Shout out to JP Crawford for keeping that hit streak going. But other than that, really not a lot to like in this game for the Mariners.
If you happen to see Dalton Varsho in the highlights, you're going to watch him rob Ben Williamson of a home run. It's one that I'll lead you to. Go try to find that and seek it out. Because Varsho, he's a guy who can go and get it in center field with the best of them. He had a catch against the Red Sox a few weeks ago when they were at Rogers Center where he fell down, and if it falls, it's going for an inside-the-park home run, I think, for Jaron Duran. But Varsho's home run extended with the glove over the fence, robbing Williamson. I watched it a couple times, Lindsay.
It's a good one. It's a good one. When we come back, Cardinals shutting out the Nationals, the White Sox taking one from the Marlins. We'll do that next right here on MLB Game Night. The MLB season is in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Sometimes it's an established veteran just shoving, like Tarik Skubal tonight. Sometimes it's a breakout player, like maybe Cade Horton of the Cubs tomorrow. Either way, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before first pitch and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. You have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. What would it look like if you could combine live prop bets mid-game based on how the action's unfolding? If you notice that, hey, they can't hit Cade Horton's fastball, you can start going in there and getting prop bets based on that action. So if you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If you win, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Okay, Steve, the Cardinals. I can't believe Eric Fetty throws a shutout, and we don't even get to it till the 3rd segment. But we just had so much going on today. JD from Locked On Cardinals, though, all over it.
Eric freaking Fetty, revenge game. He shoves against his former team, the Washington Nationals, throwing a complete game shutout. Hey, it's JD from Locked On Cardinals. And yeah, Fetty isn't the sexiest pitcher on the planet. He doesn't throw triple digits. He doesn't strike out a ton of guys normally. But on Friday night, he was outstanding. He tosses his first complete game shutout in his major league career against the team that drafted him in the first round back in 2014. 9 innings, 6 hits, 8 Ks, no walks. Absolutely brilliant. Shout out to the offense who got on the board early and just kept piling on with 10 runs on 11 hits. Took advantage of 8 Washington Nationals walks and just wore their pitchers down. Fetty's complete game is the first for the Cardinals since Jordan Montgomery did it against the Cubs back in 2022. The team has now won 6 in a row and moved to 1 game over 500. For the latest updates and info, be sure to keep it Locked On Cardinals.
On the note of the streaks, this whole segment is going to be defined by these streaks. Padres at Rockies. Padres win 13-9. Rockies have now lost 7 in a row. Their last win came against Atlanta in the series finale last week on Wednesday or Thursday, I think. Although Rockies do score 5 runs in the 8th, 2 more in the 9th. Also had 3 errors. They lead the majors there. So kind of a rough go for our fans out there in Colorado.
Yeah, Padres may have not got the pitching that we're used to seeing any given night, but they got a lot of hits. Manny Machado, double, 3 hits. Luis Arraez, 3 base hits. And, San Diego, they're going to win a lot of the games I like, low-scoring games. But this is what you expect at Coors Field, and the Padres do have the ability, on occasion, to put up 13 runs and still hold on for a 13-9 victory. So I like the fact that they can win a lot of different ways. That could bode well against the Dodgers over the course of this season.
If you like low-scoring games, you'll love Braves at Pirates. 3-2 win for the Pirates.
Think a lot about you Friday night watching this one.
Yeah, really tough for me there. Pirates in their 7-game losing streak. Braves third opportunity to get to 500. They don't do it. This is the first game for the Pirates since they let go of Derek Shelton and Don Kelly took over as manager. He is now the winningest manager in Pirates history at 1-0. Going to be really interesting. You're going to get youngster AJ Smith-Shawver versus Andrew Heaney tomorrow. You want Orioles-Angels?
Orioles in Anaheim take care of business and beat the Angels and a 5-game losing streak. As you said, that's the theme here in our third segment. 4-1 the final. Gunnar Henderson, triple and a home run. But you look at his totals for the season, and I wrote there on the script, wow. Gunnar Henderson right now, 4 home runs. Okay, he's not hitting the ball out of the ballpark. But he's only got 7 runs batted in. That's on him, but it's also on the guys in front of him as well. 4 home runs, 7 RBIs at this point for Gunnar Henderson. I had to look at that a couple of times and make sure I had it right.
It reminds me of Bobby Witt last year, how he had so many hits and so many of them were with the bases empty. Kind of similar situation there. Fun note that I found, Sean Anderson made his debut in this game for the Angels. He's the 4th guy with the last name of Anderson to play for that team this year. Only the 2nd time it's happened in history. The other one, the 1994 Angels with all of the Smiths. So a little fun note there.
There you go.
Brewers at Rays. Rays took the opener this one 4-3. And Rays had a 7-game home losing streak that got snapped. I don't have anything from our guys over at Locked On Rays, but I've got Chuck Freeman from Locked On Brewers to talk about his thoughts on how this one went.
Never really going to win that game tonight, or are they just teasing us? It seemed like they were just teasing us. They were destined to lose that game. It was just one of those games we're watching all night and like, I got to win this game. Everybody, Chuck Freeman, instant reaction here on Locked On Brewers. Yeah, Rhys Hoskins with a nice RBI single, 2 outs in the top of the 8th inning to tie it up. And Jared Candy throws about 1,000 pitches there in the bottom of the 8th. Finally walks in the go-ahead run. I don't want to hear that ball was a half an inch out, or it was a ball. He walked the guy. And the Brewers lose this game. Cannot string anything together, these guys. 2 losses in a row now, below the 500 mark. Just a disappointing night. Again, this was one I thought they were always targeted to lose. They're just not that Tampa Bay's anything great, but lately the Brewers aren't either. Get to all this and a whole lot more when we drop the next episode of Locked On Brewers coming up on Sunday night. See you then. Please subscribe.
Pat Murphy gets thrown out in the 6th inning of this one. I think it was Caleb Durbin was called for obstruction, and he got mad about it. How do you feel about managers getting thrown out of games to fire their team up? For it, against it?
I'd be for it if it worked, but I don't think it works the majority of the time.
I don't either.
Right? I mean, it's sometimes you just want to, sometimes, Matt, why'd you get tossed? I just didn't want to watch this anymore. I was done,
Wanted to go grab a cup of coffee.
Yeah, the coffee was the club. He already knew the coffee or the adult beverage was already ready to go at the desk in the manager's office back in the clubhouse. Pat Murphy can get fired up with the best of them. Front offices being what they are present day, they don't like their managers getting ejected. That's almost like an edict that comes down, not only at the big league level, but in the minor league level. It's been around for a long time. We do not want you getting ejected from the game. We don't want that. We want you in the dugout where you belong. And it also doesn't really serve its purpose a lot of the times. As you said, it's not going to fire them up necessarily.
Yeah, they're paid professionals. They're now also a game below 500. So we'll see if Milwaukee can rebound against the Rays this weekend. Final game of the night, but one that I actually kind of enjoyed a little bit. Marlins at White Sox. White Sox win this 6-2. And I've got something here from our buddy Jeremiah Geiger of Locked On Marlins. Just kind of his thoughts on what happened tonight.
1 for 15. That was the Marlins' performance with runners in scoring position tonight against the White Sox. What's up, guys? It's Jeremiah Geiger from the Locked On Marlins podcast. You're not going to win a lot of games in which you put up 2 runs and you go 1 for 15 with runners in scoring position. It's pretty simple. You got to score runs to win the game. The White Sox put up 6. Max Meyer looked solid up until the 7th, where he just ran out of gas. And the White Sox turned a 3-2 ball game quickly into a 6-2 ball game. The Marlins bats got to get going. It's pretty simple. They have to heat up. Somebody has to step up and get those timely hits. I stress about this on the podcast. Timely hitting did not happen. Not even a little bit today. Liam Hicks homered. Augustin Ramirez was hitting the ball hard, so that was encouraging. He also collected a double. He's been great, but it's the White Sox. This should be an easy series for the Marlins. You got to play better than that.
He's not wrong. My final thought here, I don't like sending Max Meyer back out for the 7th. He didn't have a ton of workload last year. I hate sending them back out.
Yeah, and I would have loved to have seen the Red Sox go with Hunter Dobbins for the 7th inning. He was below 90 pitches or right at 90 pitches, but I can agree with that. There's times where they think they can push it, and there are times where, it comes down to a feel a lot of the times as well. But they're also going by a book and gamble, but Meyer, I would be, 6 innings, end on a good note. That's where I'd be on that one.
There you go. Final 10 seconds. Any thoughts about how the day went?
Shutouts and low-scoring games, except the big comeback by the Dodgers and the Yankees thumping the A's.
We'll be back tomorrow with MLB Game Night. Remember, this is every game, every night, 7 days a week, as only Locked On Sports can do it for you. For Steve Lennox, I'm Lindsey Crosby. This has been MLB Game Night.